Hello, my name is Matthew Byron. This is Human Communications, PowerPoint slide speech on hybrid cars. Today is December 6th, 2024. I'm here with Joshua Kelly
Rebecca Lamb.
and Lisa Ciccarelli. She stepped out for a minute, but she'll be back. And then I'm going to talk about hybrid cars, their advantages, their disadvantages. Next slide. So we're going to go over the contents about introduction, what makes a hybrid, the evolution of hybrid cars, why hybrid cars, the components, model, and how it works, the variants, the hybrid performance, efficiency, and maintenance, advanced technologies, advantages, disadvantages, conclusion, and references. Next slide. So introducing hybrids. So a lot of people with hybrids, they want to conserve energy and the government, and it drives a lot of things. They're not only among what's going to be learned, but among citizens who want to look for another way to maximize their fuel economy and not depend on just fossil fuels. Fuel efficiency with less pollution has become the benchmark for any new automobile. In the same context, hybrid cars come as the latest addition. What makes a hybrid? Any vehicle is hybrid when it combines two or more sources of power. As an example, like a moped. It combines gasoline engine with pedal power. A hybrid electric vehicle combines the power of a conventional internal combustion engine with an electric motor. And here's the evolution of hybrid cars, starting with the first electric vehicle all the way down to, I use like the Mazda Tribute crossover, but there's more that have been released since then.
So in this list of cars, is there different types of hybrids here? Like,
Well, in the very beginning, the hybrids was very heavy because of the battery technology and everything. They're extremely heavy, but with the advances in technologies, batteries and the different formulas, the lithium ion and lithium and lead acid, the batteries have gotten smaller and everything.
I've got a question.
he's got a
Yes.
question.
With advance in technology, do you feel like if we keep going, that eventually we'll have cars that won't even need electricity? That will just like we'll find a different source of fuel.
Well, we're still off of that. Well, yeah, it's funny you mention that because they've got cars that use hydrogen only. But hydrogen is expensive and it's not as common. But they have vehicles that in hydrogen, and when you think of hydrogen, you think like, but I mean, they do have them, but it's a niche item, meaning it's not quite common. So they got other things like that hydrogen, which I didn't know about, but I found out about it.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, hydrogen vehicle, you fill it up, and I think they have that like in Canada. It's not very common in California, but it's like rare. It's not as common as like the mainstream hybrids that use like batteries and stuff. Next slide. So why hybrid cars? A consistent rise in fuel prices. There's a must for us to look for alternative fuels such as hybrids. They have good mileage for their class, the dependency on fossil fuels, so you're not always using like gas. And then switch it up between going to electric and then gas. They produce much less emissions and use about 50% less fuel than the average new vehicle in the same class, because you've got the battery to fall back on instead of using gas continuously. Okay, next slide. Continue. Regenerative braking makes actually city driving more economical than on a highway because places like California, DC, these major cities, Charleston, West Virginia, the regenerative braking is when you put your foot on the brake, it's causing the braking from the energy from the braking to go into the vehicle. So it's like, it's helping you out. Plug-in hybrid vehicles can eventually be charged at parking locations using renewable energy. They use at least half as much fuel as the hybrids.
I have a question.
Yes.
With the regenerative braking, would they like deteriorate faster or about the same pace?
You think it's because of the stop and go, the regenerating and the discharging and stuff? Well, that depends because depending on the driving and everything, because on electric vehicles they don't really like you to ride the brake because the theory is like when you're going like downhill or whatever, they've got like braking. It's weird because the car actually like brakes. But it's because you're essentially going downhill and then it's using the energy into the battery. So you theoretically don't have to like brake much because when you're below like a certain speed, it does the braking for you. It's different. You're like, it's different on how it works.
Well, like you
It would
said,
take you to
you're
get
gonna
used
be
to that.
teaching yourself to
Right.
drive.
Right. Basically, you you're teaching them, learn how to drive differently.
Right.
No riding the brake. They're like, no, you don't have to do that. And then plug-in hybrid vehicles can eventually be charged at parking locations and we use half as much fuel. Next slide. Global warming is still an issue. Hybrid vehicles are less emission
I gotta
vehicles.
sit behind you.
Okay. Will cut down emissions of global warming balloons from 1/3 to a half. Later molecules may cut down on these emissions even more.
Yeah.
Next slide.
Yeah, I mean, is the global warming really that bad?
Well, it is a big deal because they said they have a hole in the ozone layer over, like, I think the North Pole or whatever.
All that stuff I
All
don't
that stuff.
understand. But
If you've ever been to California or out there,
oh yeah, I lived in Orange County.
I was gonna say if you're around there, like say late 70s, or early 80s, the smog. It's
80s.
80s, or if you look even Pittsburgh, PA, late 70s, still now. Look at old pictures. The smog it's totally
I
different. The air
realize, I
quality.
mean, I know I'm only 53, but I realize our season wise, I've seen how much stuff has changed.
Look at from when you moved here till when
I
it
mean,
was
I
snow.
remember winter never started here till after January,
Mhm.
and these past few years, it's gotten colder a lot sooner than it did when I was a kid.
Yeah.
I mean, because I remember on Christmas Day, having just t-shirt and pants on to go. I mean, we weren't dressed. Now you're bundling up at Thanksgiving, and I've seen snow at Easter.
Mhm.
And then year before last, remember when we had that like below zero for like a week?
Yeah, that
Yeah.
sucked.
Because I'd run my car for 30 minutes and it still wasn't warm for me to drive to work out Deerfield. And I remember it lasted about a week below zero because there was no school. And I just thought, I mean, that kind of stuff I'm not understanding, but I guess I didn't. The way they say it is because doing that is going to help fix some of that.
And I'm gonna say if global warming continues in the south, like Antarctica, like completely melts, it will take out over half the state.
Well, that's an issue and stuff too because as you notice, the global out there.
But I mean, is regular cars really that bad?
Well, a lot of them are diesels. Why do you think they went to like DEF fluid in your new diesels? That DEF fluid you add
Yeah.
to cut down on the emissions from the diesels? Because remember, in your old diesels, you hear the chatter of those old trucks.
Yeah.
Now you listen to a diesel and it's like, it's
Oh,
not
no,
a diesel, it's so
my brother
quiet.
has a brand new
quiet.
GMC.
Yeah, because they used to like chatter, but now they're like, and then you have to use
Whatever
that.
their biggest
fluid.
truck is.
So with
When he
hybrid,
pulls up now, I can't. I
Yeah.
don't even know he's out there.
so a hybrid car adds a battery in the back, your power split device, your electric motor, your generator, and your internal combustion engine. You add some more things. Of course, the battery being in the back and usually being the heaviest thing, the heaviest thing.
But all the electronics in these new hybrids, doesn't that scare people?
Well, only as much as if they get in an accident or when something breaks. So you could have like a boat anchor because you're like, well, something go wrong. I'm like, if it's straight electric vehicle, something goes wrong, you're just stuck. But at least with a hybrid, you've got gas engine, so you're not like out of the water because you're able to use the gas engine.
I'm thinking of the electronic part.
Right.
You know what I'm
The
saying? Like
expensive,
me,
the
like I'm not
complexity.
trying to be stupid,
Right.
but I used to think that the shit emoji was ice cream. I used to send it to Bo all the time, and then one day he looked at me and said, "Danny, why do you keep sending me that shit emoji?" I went, "What?" And I'm just thinking, some people, I'm not computer, I'm illiterate about stuff, and I'm just saying them hybrids scare me, the thought of sitting in there and knowing how much of that is computerized.
You actually have to teach yourself. It's a different way of driving. It's just different. There's
Yeah.
many modes on it. Like you can go full electric, you can go full gas. There's different modes depending on how you want to use it. It opens up other options on how you want to drive. Next slide. How hybrid cars work? Hybrid cars integrate the power of the conventional gasoline engine with that of an electric motor. A high-powered battery pack provides energy to the motor, which gets itself recharged when the car is decelerating. The gas engine can also assist the battery in recharging, which kills the need to plug the car into an external source of energy. So to continue, mild hybrids are incapable of independently operating their vehicle. Mild hybrid, we think of a Ford Explorer hybrid. You're like Toyota hybrid, where the battery is in the vehicle, but there's not a way to plug it in. That's your mildest form of hybrid. It's like Chevy made a hybrid. I think like a Tahoe back in the day was like a hybrid, but it didn't sell too well. It was too early for its time.
Almost got a question.
Yes.
What happens when the batteries inside these mild hybrids go bad?
Well, depending on how long it is and everything, the dealer will replace it. Because the coverage on them is like 10 years, 100,000 miles
I can't wait.
on some of them, like your Tesla. So if it's out of warranty, that's when you run into major problems because a typical battery can vary from like, I've seen $10,000 for a Tesla battery to like 7,000. You'll see a lot of Teslas. Oh, I'm getting a great deal on the Tesla. Well, meanwhile, it says battery only charges to 50%. That's why you got a great deal because you got to replace the battery. Because the batteries. But a lot of them come with a robust warranty on these batteries, 10 years, 100,000 miles. So within that time period, they expect you to lose some charge capability because the battery is not going to retain its full charge.
That's what I was.
For like 10 years, it's going to, like phones, it's going to eventually degrade.
Okay. The other question is, God, I feel like I sound stupid asking him, but my dad drag raced my whole life, so you understand what I'm saying? The fuel and all that, and the motor and everything.
Yeah.
I guess I'm kind of confused about. I know what where the oil does, what the gas does, the thing, for the motor, and I guess I'm confused about how is this motor going to last all them miles when you switch back. Do you get what I'm saying?
Well,
back and forth. Am I making sense to you? How are you going? The thing is, this is all still, even though they've been doing it for years, I feel like it's all still new.
Right.
And my thought in my mind is how we all know how electronics run, and we all know how old school motors run. How are we going to keep? You got the pistons and all that stuff. You have to have gas. It just confuses me thinking, how is this motor going to last 100,000 miles? And then I'll be under all that stress,
Right.
and then I'm going to be the one stuck.
Because you have the electric and you have the
Right,
gasoline
and the
engine
money that it's going to cost because it can only go
to the dealer.
to the dealer. I don't know nothing about the electronic thing. The gas and the wheel stuff I do, but I can't get to it because all that stuff is set. You get what I'm? This is just. I just think it's a lot for them, for people, once we really start getting into this kind of vehicle.
See, the thing is too, the electric motor acts as a sidekick to the gasoline engine.
Yeah.
Whenever you need more power, and the thing is, the engine can be made smaller. Instead of a 6-cylinder,
Yeah.
you use a 4-cylinder, and then you use the motor. You use the electric to supplement the power to the smaller engine, so you get better fuel economy. The internal combustion engine, both gasoline and diesel, installed in a hybrid, are smaller. For a simple reason, the hybrids have the electric motor. So the electric motor is the back. It helps you out. And then, like, here's the Honda Insight. Look where the transmission is, the motor, generator, engine. And then, as you notice in the back, you got the battery and the fuel tank, because batteries don't like heat. So if you were to put the battery near the engine, all that heat.
The heat from the battery and the transmission.
Right. So they try to put it in the back. And then like Volt, what my dad owned, he had the battery pack. See, they put the battery pack in the middle on the Volt. So that worked out great. So for the weight distribution, because your battery is heavy. But it was weird because look where they put the engine. So the engine is not really in.
It's closer to the battery.
Yeah, because look where the engine and the fuel tank is. So it's kind of weird because the fuel tank is in the back of the engine. It's weird. It's strange how that happens, which, I've never seen that. And then the generator. And then
Now,
hybrid.
what hybrid has Chrysler got? Mopar.
Oh, they got the Jeep 4XE, the Jeep that goes like 20 miles electric. So that is like you can get the hybrid version where you plug it in and 20 miles electric in a Jeep. Who would ever thought? I mean, it's not very much, but hey, it's something. And I never thought that was possible. The key factor for hybrid is the smaller engine for running at the average power. So with the hybrid engine, you're not meant to like, firewall. So like go like as quick as possible. It's got average power. Oh, and then when it reaches it needs to go up on a hill, it draws extra power from the batteries to run the electric motor to get the job done.
Now, can you have a stick shift with a hybrid?
No. I've never seen that.
I've
never seen that. No.
I'm old school.
No.
And every vehicle I ever had
Stick shift with a hybrid, no, because you have to
stick shift.
because with the battery and you have to
Do you
make.
remember that the Jeep stick shift, F shifted?
No, I've never. I don't believe that's not
My Jeep.
possible or not practical because the way
No, Phillips Jeep.
with it has to make quick decisions. So automatic would be really the only
So
way.
because of the electronics, you
The
could never
electronics.
really have a manual transmission.
Right, because of the lag. I mean, because the lag and everything.
Oh, well, then I'd never own one.
But now they do. What they do have though is they have the in
I
between.
like shifting those gears.
What they do have is
I just do.
they,
It's so easy.
they have the in between though, where you can go all the way down and you can tap shift the plus minus.
No, I
So you
know
can
they
do
have
that
that
one.
one where you can do on the steering wheel.
So
You
that's a
can
halfway
put the-
compromise. My
put
my
the
favorite one is that.
clutch down and
Plus minus.
change
Oh, it's
it,
great
but
for snow.
I
don't even like
All
that.
the way down to 2.
I don't even like that.
It's great 'cause you get a
I'm
little
used
more
to that
control
right
and not
there.
getting hung up for sliding. And then next slide,
So
John.
Matt, I got a question for you.
Yes.
You talk about it draws extra power from the batteries.
Yes.
How does that work on trucks, like for the electric trucks? Do you think they have the same power?
Like a full
horsepower?
hybrid electric truck, like Silverado EV.
Yeah, like what can they do what a regular truck?
Well, like
does?
like say a Tesla or the Silverado EV, a vehicle that is like full electric. You know how there's a delay when you put your foot down on the gas pedal and a gas vehicle before it floors it before it opens. So in an electric field, you have to teach yourself how to drive that too, because as soon as you put your foot down on the floor and like a Tesla or a Silverado EV truck on full electric, it's instant torque. There's no delay. There's no like spin up. And so as you put your foot down,
I feel bad.
you're like, no, there's no lag.
You
Right,
have to
no
teach
lag.
yourself
I feel
How
bad.
much gas
That's
That's
not-
full electrical. No, that's full. It's instant torque. There's no delay. Now hybrid is it has gas engine, yes, but you have to teach yourself because as soon as you floor it, like on a full electric only vehicle that uses no gas, it's instant on torque. Same with a motorcycle, electric only motorcycle. As soon as you hit that, there's no delay. You're instantly. It's instant. There's no.
I wouldn't
It's
like it.
instant.
I have a question.
Yeah.
So, let's say somebody has like experience only driving a gas car.
Yeah.
If they go into all electric, do you think there would be more like car crashes and
There could be because the thing about it is only electric. It's instant on. There's no. It's instant power, instant on. As soon as you floor it,
It floors it.
it floors it. There's no like on a vehicle where you're.
It has no get up and go.
There's no
It
get up
just
and go,
goes.
get up and go. It just goes instantly. There's no delay.
there'll be more accidents?
There could be because somebody that doesn't know how to drive, you have to train yourself. They go like on an electric motorcycle, totally electric. As soon as you floor that handle, you're instant. There's no
I
like
can't
delay.
imagine they're going to sell very many of those.
Oh, people like it because they're quiet and everything. But
Well, they ain't from West Virginia then, because I've rode motorcycles in my entire life, and everybody I've dated or been married to rides bikes, and I can't imagine not hearing
The sound.
that sound of that bike.
it's something else because the electric motorcycle is super quiet. You don't hear
Yeah,
it.
but I couldn't know.
So think about what
is
that
not-
does. Think about what that does for accidents on people that drive cars that don't pay attention. Very quiet.
Yeah, I died. But on a motorcycle, I mean, I
That's what
just,
I'm gonna say too. At night, I mean.
that is just, I can't
How are you gonna-
imagine it being quiet. You know what I'm saying? That's the whole part of feeling it rev up and hearing it. And, you know what I'm saying?
No, the ad sounds
To
silly
set
because
can
the
you
Chevy
imagine going out?
pulled my dad.
Nothing.
I think
not-
the ad sounds silly
Nothing.
because you make it quiet, but then
I
that
would-
sounds for pedestrians.
I guess I'm old
So
school
they
from
can
West
hear.
Virginia.
So you
I
don't
don't see no
They
too
add-
many
it's
West
funny, they add
Virginia
sounds.
boys getting into
No.
electric.
But the thing about hybrids is you shut off the engine at low speeds like city driving, recovers the energy and stores it. Displacement of cylinders is small. Again, 4-cylinder, 3-cylinder, you can get away with. They use electric power, it starts and stops. Stoplights, let you know. Use gasoline engine at cruising speeds. You go in 50, 75. You're using engine. Smaller engines are more efficient.
Do you not think it's scary that I won't say no more after this because I know I'm talking a lot. Do you not think that it's scary what all these vehicles do electronically, and we're gonna put kids, 16-year-old kids in these, that they're already in that world of having everything at their fingertips. My feeling is accidents.
Right. Because like I
Because
said,
this is something else now that's going to do more for them than it has to. Do you get what I'm saying? For them to be a little more lazy of not paying attention to the car, to actually driving. Am I making sense to you, Bo? I mean, you're the age I'm talking about.
I mean, yeah, I can see because most of the kids in my school are always like
On the
wondering
phone.
what
You
they're
don't even
doing.
take a phone to school. He doesn't even
a
have
lot
one.
of these cars too, like I said, a lot of these hybrids, when you get into one, like when my dad's Chevy Volt was electric only power, Swiss for quiet. You're just like,
But you see what I'm saying?
but they had to
These
add,
kids nowadays get in a daze
yeah.
so quick with texting on a phone or looking at something on TikTok or whatever that this is going to make it easy.
The thing about it is they had to add sounds a lot to these hybrid cars and the motorcycles and stuff because they were too quiet, so pedestrians weren't hearing them. So they had to add. What you're trying to do is make it quiet, but then you end up having to add sounds, so the pedestrians and don't run into the vehicle because they can't hear it because they're not paying attention.
I've actually seen that in practice because where I work at Pratt and Whitney,
Oh, I'm sure there's hybrid cars there.
2 of them have the
They add the noise.
what's that called? The inline,
Yeah.
the Hyundai inline or something like that, Elantra.
Yeah.
But it sounds like a spaceship when it comes through because
Right, because they had to add that because if electric vehicle is, it's just a whisper. All you hear is the tires and whatever. It's like.
I know a lot of people work.
It says regenerative braking, as it said that when you're in stop and go traffic, heavy traffic, you just use the electric, the braking, use it towards it right back into the electric motor. Electric motor drive assist, automatic start and shut off. So when you're in major cities like California, DC, or Charleston, stop and go traffic, you might not even use any gasoline at all because you're just running purely on electric because it's constantly recharging stuff. Automotive starter batteries used to be lead acid, real heavy, real big. The RAV4, EV, I think that gets like 50 miles. That small SUV, 4 or 50, it sells a lot. I used to go nickel metal hydride Priuses. They've been around forever. New batteries based on lithium ion are 5 times lighter, and today's advancements make it possible for larger battery storage in vehicles. Like I said, who would ever imagine a Silverado pickup truck, EV, so purely electric? And BMW, they moved onto the hybrid gas vehicle, and they use supercapacitor instead of batteries. Those caps, like you see the kids they have those big stereo systems. Instead of the battery in the back, they have like capacitors to store the energy. So whenever the base hits or something, it uses the power in the capacitors as an example to lighten the load on the battery. And the super caps are more efficient. Excellent gas mileage, pure tailpipe, lighter batteries. Regenerative braking that uses less fuel. To recharge batteries, 20-25% better mileage than the integrated circuit. Engine 30% reduction, less maintenance compared to conventional cars, and increased engine life. And a few disadvantages, of course. Reduced but not emission free, because you always have emissions coming out of the tailpipe, even though it's a hybrid. HEC's zero emissions, they produce only when the engine is not running. Slightly expensive than conventional vehicles because then again, as a hybrid, you've got the complexity of the battery and all the other things that come with it. So you're got your gas engine, and then your motors and everything, and then the payback period in average use. So when you buy, you have your car payment and everything, but you start seeing the advantages is once it's paid off, and then you're got only you've got that, but you have to worry about your electric bill, as I say, and then your gas bill. So you have two bills.
And buying another battery.
Yeah, within because a lot of them last like 10 years, 100,000 miles.
Yeah.
President automobiles stress on power, but also emissions. The demand for fossil fuels will be at a critical stage in the future because of the high price of fuels. President emissions rates are so high that they add to the global warming. There's a need for clean and less emission vehicles. Hybrids are the vehicle of the future. Is the conclusion. The thing that was brought up, I'd like to bring up is, it's basically one of those, they try to break even because they mine the lithium mines for these precious metals that go into these hybrids, and a lot has been brought up about the expenditure and labor and everything for what you get out of these mines for the batteries and everything. So it's kind of like.
And is that good for the environment?
One thing they say is good for the environment because look at what you're doing and the amount you have to do to make the battery and everything. It's kind of like.
My brother said that it's useless. This year's useless. I mean, he's a bull maker.
Right.
My ex-husband worked in the coal mines. I'm just saying they know that part of it and understanding that it's just, there's no matter how they put it, you're still there's still something for something else.
Right. It's one of those things. And then another thing too was like my dad, when he bought his Chevy Volt, he, at the time they were pushing it hard. So when he bought it, he got a $7,500 tax credit.
Right.
As an incentive. He's like, that's great and everything.
But it's one time.
But it's one time. But it was kind of like, and a lot of them, like a Tesla and stuff, believe you get that federal tax credit, that $7,500. But at least it's something.
So Matt, I got a
it's
question.
one time.
Yes. I got a question. You haven't mentioned insurability. Like, what is insurance company?
Oh, well, insurability is, as you know, I don't know if anybody knows, but everything is tied to the vehicle identification number when you buy the vehicle, the VIN. And the insurance company is going to know that's a hybrid and what kind it is. They have special insurance for hybrids, whether it's a.
Which is higher
because you have the gasoline and electric battery. And not only that, with them, they look at it as. It's not so much if you get in an accident in the front anymore of a vehicle, like you bust up the front. They look at it as also like now if you get hit from the back because you've got your battery in the back, you've got your backup cameras, you've got your sensors. So I didn't know this, but I found this out. A car can be totaled just by being hit from the back, not the front. And you think, well, most of the time you get hit from the back, it's rear end. Well, we can fix that. Well, it's getting to a point now where a lot of stuff is so much is in the back where it's kind of like, it's, But yes, there's special insurance ability. Yeah, usually it costs more because more components, the complex ability of that. So yes, they have hybrid insurance.
So would you buy a hybrid, or would you recommend that we do, or would you?
Well, what kind of hybrid? Like an electric only, or like one with a gasoline and?
Well, based off your research, any hybrid.
Well, what would you buy?
The vehicle I would buy for me, I would buy that Mitsubishi Outlander hybrid SUV because you get like 36 miles electric. It uses a 4-cylinder, and because it's an SUV, so you have the second row, and you have trunk space. So I would buy that SUV because it has, and plus it has all the different drive modes. A 4-cylinder, and like I say, you get almost 40 miles for that Mitsubishi, and it's big. So that's what I buy. Well, it'll also depend on where I live. If I lived in California, DC, Charleston, any major city, I'd be a go. But live out here in rural, if I live like Preston County, somewhere out here in West Virginia, like say like Nicholas County or somewhere where they're like, or even like some parts in Lewis County, Weston, where you're like out there.
Similar to Dodge County.
Where you're like out there and there's like none of this. Like the biggest grocery store is like your Family Dollar or your mom and pop grocery store, no Walmart, then I would go a gasoline only because
We'll go to
we're not there
Salem.
yet.
Or Walkersville.
Yeah, we're not there yet. Though we're like
I don't see us being there in 10 years.
like I said.
Number one, because this state is starving.
Well, like I
There's
said,
so many people not making good money that, I mean, like I said, my brother's a bull maker. I mean, he has to go out of state to work
yes.
over half the year because they're shutting the power plants down.
So
Question.
There's
Yes.
coal mines are shutting down.
Have you checked and seen, like, out of all the batteries, how many have actually lasted 10 years, 100,000 miles?
Well, like take Tesla for example. Like if you look at the original Teslas and stuff, you'll find on like websites. Let me see. Auction sites and stuff, you'll see deals on Teslas, and you're like, man, I'm getting a Tesla. Like you'll see a Tesla for half price. I use Tesla, and you're like, what's this? And you're scrolling down, and it say, battery only charges to 50%.
No.
So and then the price of the Tesla is like half price. But then you're thinking, well, I gotta go spend $10,000 on a battery for a Tesla. So you're like, well, of course it's half price. So of course the guy's trying to get rid of it, and then he's giving it to you for almost nothing because you got to replace the battery, and the labor alone on replace the battery is a lot.
do you believe that the hybrids affect the workforce? Like, does it create jobs? Does it destroy jobs?
Well, I believe it creates jobs, and the government is under, from what my research also, the government is going to like, they're using like mild hybrids. Example is as Ford Fusions, which our government uses Ford Fusions, the hybrids. And so you'll see that, but we're not quite there yet. I mean, we're getting a lot there. I would say the moment that where I realized that like West Virginia is taking hybrids serious, and a lot of people may not know this, is over there in Fairmont by the Sheets.
Yeah.
You see the Tesla charging station.
Yeah.
It looks out of place, but I've seen people use it. But people thought, oh, look at that.
I know. When
I think that's
you
the
took
only
us,
Sheets
you
that
took
was
us
the
up to
college
Sheets.
station. Because I looked
I've
at the
seen
Sheets
those
and
up
I don't
there,
see that.
the little things lit up. When you took
Yes.
me to get my money out,
Yes.
I've seen them there.
Out of all the vehicles that are hybrid to like full electric, which one do you think is most reliable? Like in your opinion?
I would go with the Toyota. I think is it the RAV4 that gets like almost 650, gets 50 miles. That small SUV, because Toyotas are like they're so reliable. I mean, they're like bulletproof Toyotas. So I would go with that small Toyota. I believe the RAV4 because it's a hybrid and it's got that engine and you're getting 50 miles. I mean, on battery. I mean, they sell out all the time. You go on there and be like. They sell as quick as they can get them in because of that mileage of
And one more question.
hybrids.
Compared to like people normally checking their cars and doing all that stuff, do you feel like since there's less stuff less maintenance, do you feel like at the end whenever you get checking, there's gonna be more stuff wrong with it than you actually think there is?
Well, with these hybrids, as I said, they add a lot of complexity, and it's really you have to train yourself as far as a different way of driving and everything. A lot of the stuff is dealer only. You can't really work on it. Which, you'll be there a lot because, and I think it creates more jobs because the thing is
What dinner?
You think there'll be
if you want to become a
What's your
mechanic,
favorite?
it's going to be pretty much mandatory for them to be
Do you
hybrid
like spaghetti
certified
meatballs?
on
Do you
stuff
like
because
rigatoni?
these guys, you need specialty tools
like
to even work
rigatoni
on these, so
meatballs?
it's going to
I
encourage
don't know what
more
that is.
shops to
The
compete
long,
with the dealers.
kind of round.
Because I mean, you're gonna want
Meatballs.
to, I was gonna want to go to the
Probably
dealer.
would.
You want to go take it to your
Yeah.
guy that works. So as a mechanic, you're gonna be
Old
going to
school
school.
thing.
You're gonna learn about
I
hybrids.
pretty much anything
And
that's
all
not
of that.
vegetables. Or
A lot of these vehicles
Right.
now,
Like,
like these
I like
hybrids and
chili.
stuff, all they need to do is pull the
I just don't
vehicle
touch
up
anything
to the,
green.
computer
Nothing green.
No
and
salad.
connect Wi-Fi to
No.
it, connect the connection to it, and it'll
Like
tell you what's wrong with
quesadillas?
the vehicle without
Any
even
Mexican
having
food.
to open up the hood.
I love
We're right
Mexican.
Come
there,
down
because
one
a lot
night
of the
and
cars
my
have
homemade
motors and
chicken
diagnostics.
quesadillas.
We're
I
right
do that
there, where in
sometimes.
the old
But-
days you have to guess.
Oh, God.
Do you think there could be inaccurate results, like if they ever get on the computer? Do you think that
Inaccurate results are not on a lot of these vehicles because, like I said, the days of having to lift up the hood in these older vehicles with these new hybrids and everything and what they're putting into them, you just pull it out into the dealer, you pull it up to the computer, he uses his little scan
And
tool.
it tells you what's wrong.
It tells you what's wrong with it, so he knows exactly. Oh, it's a module. I just need to replace that. It'll tell you everything that's wrong with it. Vehicle port, and he'll use his little scan tool, which costs like thousands of dollars, and it's like,
I mean,
which
you
we
can do
don't
that
get.
now.
You
with
can
some
do that now, but
vehicles.
what his
Like
is
mine, Jetta,
is
I can
exact.
take it.
I'm just saying, like, if it could be like an accurate, like, let's say the car says,
Well,
okay,
Tesla had some problems with some cars.
that's what I'm saying. Like, let's say okay, this bright tire's off a little bit, like the inside of the engine's messed up. And
No,
they go
they're
in
not
and look,
turning into Bumblebee though.
and,
No.
and they go in and look and everything's perfectly fine.
Well, they go by, like I say, they go by the computer.
Oh,
There's
my.
something wrong.
I like
There's something wrong. They
Transformers.
replace the module.
Oh, I love
and then,
them.
Do you? Me and
go
Bo do
from
too.
there.
I liked when they
And
went
we
into
keep
the
going.
Beast Wars era.
You know, like I
I
had a
got
tire
in
pressure
that.
sensor go
He
bad,
liked it too. Sweet.
and they said there's nothing wrong with that.
That's one of the DVDs I have up there, Beast Wars and Beast Machines.
They replaced them.
You
My
got it. You
tires
got it.
pressure sensor.
I got
is
like the
good.
animated
It tells me,
series, like the whole
most
season.
tires is full of air.
Um,
But any more? Like I said, with these,
Transformer,
do you
I
have
got it.
anybody have any more questions?
I got
Nope.
more.
Like I said, with the electric, remember, with electric only vehicle, it's instant torque. There's no delay. So when you floor it, it's instant power. So you really have to like
Teach yourself to
how to
drive
drive
it.
because there's no delay. It's like especially the electric motorcycles. They
But
kind of
can you
scare me.
imagine backing up and you just barely hit it? You're already back.
Yeah. Like I said, electric motorcycle. As soon as you floor the handle,
That's what I was
No
saying.
delay.
Though.
No
Some
delay.
of those things like that. That's what I was meaning earlier. And then anything against you. It's your generation. I'm just saying. Does scare me the thought of them driving those type of cars because I know myself. I'm 53, and I'll tell you the God's honest truth. I can get on my phone and be looking at stuff, and they, for example, say that she's doing something. Listen, I won't even know it, and there's times that I've looked at my phone and hours have went by,
Mhm.
and I have no
Right.
clue, and I haven't ate, I haven't went to the bathroom, nothing, and I'm talking hours of sitting there flipping through TikToks or watching something on there or whatever. And my thing is, do you understand where I'm coming from? With your age, this car does almost everything for them. That it does scare me, the thought of them getting a license and having that
Right,
type
it's
of
all on
car.
a lot of these. It's all
It's
on
very-
It's different drive
I would
modes.
think that's very. I would think that. Do you understand? Like he has ADD
Uh-huh.
and he has it really bad. He doesn't have, or he has, but he doesn't have the ADHD part, the mean, violent part.
Yeah.
The thing is, their minds, and even if they don't have it, these kids' minds will get so, I mean, let's be honest, will get so into the phone or what they're watching or text or whatever, and they know this car does almost everything for them, that I just can't imagine that this is going to be a very wise decision to have kids this age driving those type of vehicles.
Well, and a lot of these vehicles too, like I said, like the one I mentioned, the Outlander one,
Yeah.
you can go full electric, you can go full gas, you can go the mix hybrid gas. So it has different like 4 drive modes. So you can mix it up. You say, oh, I want to drive on the electric today, and then once the electric's running, so it gives you other choices. But it really is teach you how to drive differently because when you're running on pure electric, it's almost like the car's like whisper quiet.
Right.
You're just like, whoa. You're like, all you hear is the tires and maybe the faint whine of the
I just
electric
don't know
motor.
how safe that's going to be
Yeah.
for this generation
Well,
of kids that are
It's a
getting
bit
their
off topic,
license
but you
at
feel like
15
some
now.
kids are gonna be more behind than others when it comes time.
His age, right now,
Oh
at
yeah.
15, he
The
can go get
example
it.
of this is you've got the trendsetters like California, which is pushing
I
hard,
just can't see
electric
that being safe.
because of the smog and the
No,
problem.
I mean, even
with
people
DC.
our age can't drive right.
No,
For
I
example,
couldn't do it.
a lot like Charleston.
The person that lived beside you on
Not
there,
quite there yet.
that's
West
why he
Virginia.
wrecks his car all the time.
Right, but we're getting there. But a lot of these major cities,
He'll be on the
pushing so
phone
hard,
and
and the government
everything else,
has
and
mandate to go hybrid. State they want to go hybrid vehicles.
I heard he's in a lot of trouble.
So that's where we're at on this. We're getting there. I mean, it's come a long way.
he's
Where
facing
we're at,
jail time in the next 30
and there's
days.
still more to improve. Oh, and I forgot to
He's
mention this,
facing the
everybody.
jail time.
Another thing to worry about is like when you get with these hybrids,
Yeah.
you get in a car accident and I tell people this: the concern is when they catch on fire. It's the firefighters is special handling because the amount of water it takes to put out. So you got the gasoline and the electric. So if the gasoline catches on fire and then the electric battery
It
catches
has to
on
be
fire,
foam. Water ain't gonna
foam,
do
but
shit.
they use you have to use a lot. You have to use you have
Right.
to use like almost more than double to put it out. Especially like the Tesla catch on fire, the amount of water you have to use is huge. So
I just
there's that to put it out because you can't just like put an electric fire out easily. It's like no. And then there's of course the environmental when you have to like junk those cars, the batteries and everything.
Right.
I was
Yeah,
gonna
there's
say,
the recycling. So it's a big benefit for the recycling business.
imagine the pollution, like
I'm
the
sure
level
you
of
have to
pollution.
spend money.
Well, I
I'm
mean,
sure
making the
you
batteries and
have to
everything and mining
quite
for
a
the
bit
precious
to
metals,
spend.
I mean,
yes.
afterwards, like,
But afterward, yes.
if people
Yes,
don't recycle
I
them,
wouldn't
they're just
think-
staying.
Well, I mean, they
I
will
would think
recycle
that
the
you're gonna
batteries
have to pay
because
to
there's like a
dispose it.
law about that. Like
So if you recycle batteries, you
the
think you get a little
batteries
bit.
like out of these old cars,
I
these
don't know.
hybrids, so they have to like recycle them. There's like a mandate. You can't just like, oh, I'm just gonna like toss them. And another thing is there's a court
You
charge.
can get in trouble with the batteries.
There's like a court
Like, you know,
charge.
old school
Yeah.
Phillips got batteries sitting around. You can't have those sitting around.
Just see on a lot of these two hybrids too, like on these batteries, it's a win-win because when the people, whoever turns them in, you get a court charge on the batteries, like when you turn your battery in. So, you know, and there's advantages and disadvantages. We still got a long way to go where we need to be, but compared to where we're at, I mean, they're doing like great things with the hybrids, like I said.
I agree, but I'll tell you what, I just really scares me, this young generation, and that's my grandson sitting there, and I know how they are about being on their phone, texting, watching TikToks, talking, and they're gonna be setting in something that can do everything for them.
Well, a lot of these
How
vehicles-
easy it would be not to fucking pay attention to what you're doing and them have an accident.
A lot of these, if you know nowadays, we're getting to the point like if you look at a new vehicle nowadays, it's all screens. You're spending more time looking at the screens
Right.
than you are at the road, and the primary purpose, of course, is
Well, yeah.
on the
that's-
road. But now
That's
everything's
the
on
other thing I
screen.
was gonna
The,
mention.
the AC, the heating,
That's the
controls
other thing I
are
was going
touch,
to
and you have to
mention.
look down, so you're not
Yeah.
really looking. So we're at. Oh, and then another thing about hybrids and purely electric vehicles, you got to consider the climate you live in. Because lithium batteries or like lithium-ion batteries do not do well in cold climates like Minnesota
I know.
or Alaska, because you can lose as much as 50% of the charge in a cold climate
Yeah.
because of the you know, and then the heat too. Real hot climate like Arizona, Death Valley, and they don't do well in the heat either, extreme heat, because you know the
My brother,
So-
Uncle Ryan, was living in Canada, and it was 37 below zero, and he had it.
you have to like plug them in.
He had to plug it in because
Yeah.
the oil gets so thick
Yeah.
that it won't generate in the truck.
Right. Oh, like an old
Yeah.
dipstick heater.
Like you had to
stuff.
do Mercedes back in the day, plug them in.
Yeah.
Michigan's the same way. They when you pull on, they got those
Because
little
up there, the hotels have, most of them do have a plug-in for your vehicles.
Well, another thing I found out too, and I was checking into this, depending on where you live too, they also some of these hotels and stuff have charging stations for hybrid vehicles, which I think is a great idea. Oh, I'm just staying there, I have to plug my vehicle in, you know.
I just, like you said, my other thing, besides the age and everything I've said, is my brother's got a brand new Silverado. Well, not a new one, but it's not a hybrid, but it has a dash that listen, just a short drive he gave me in it from Shinson to Maple Lake. Like it, if you pass a sign that says 55 miles and it'll say speed and mileage, it'll say this in the name of the road, and it'll say this and another thing. I mean, listen, I couldn't have drove it because I was so busy paying attention to everything that thing kept telling me that I'm like, this is scary, really scary. And it was one of those, he can take his foot off the pedal or take his hands off the steering wheel.
Because it has like Super Cruise where it's in the steering wheel. Yeah.
Listen, we went up Gypsy Hill. I begged him to let me out because he's not holding that steering wheel. I begged him. It mentally just messes with you, and that's my thing is, I'm 53 and saw a lot of shit, and it scares me the thought of these young kids driving a car like that.
Well, next time you see, it was your brother, you said?
Yeah.
You should mention to him about, like, down here in Harry Green, they, the Silverado, the fully electric Silverado EV, he'll probably get a kick out of it because he'll be like an electric pickup truck. What use is that? I said, well, it's great if you want to use it, if you're out at the construction site, because the thing is you can use your power tools and plug into your truck, and you can use it as a generator.
Yeah.
So you can use it as another source of power. But again, a lot of these electric-only vehicles, range anxiety.
Right.
Because you're constantly, you got, where do I plug in? And then you got to wait for it to recharge, which is why I think is a hybrid is the lesser of two evils and a compromise, because I got gasoline engine and I got the battery. I got enough. So if I'm going, I got either one or the other. I'm not like stuck. Oh, it's only electric. Well, I'm out of luck if I can't find a charging station and break down.
It just scares me that the world is turning this everything's turning electronic so much that I feel like we're stifling our kids. You know what I'm saying? Now we've got this thing here.
You're about to wrap it up.
All right. Well, that's all I have. Anybody have any other questions?
No, you did a great job.
All right. Hey, thank you. Thank you. Thank you.